Yes, we're back again. I'm George Wrighster, your host of Mindset Mastery. Today, we're going to have a special guest on, Indira Kaljo. We're going to talk about her journey to the U.S. uh, from Bosnia. We're going to talk about her parents, what school was like for her here, her basketball journey, and her basketball journey led her to college and to play internationally. The foundation that she started, her hijab. She has a line of hijabs that are out right now, and her love for Wales, and then now back in Saudi Arabia playing professional basketball again. Please remember to give to St. Jude Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. They need your support. They're a cancer hospital for children. No family there pays any money out of their pocket while they're there receiving treatment. We want to be a blessing to them. And this is the year of giving for me. I want to give my best you in every area that I can. I want to my podcast, my YouTube channel to be a support system and a mechanism and an avenue for people to watch, listen, and be inspired by it and be moved. Please leave comments, give me a 5-star rating on the podcast, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and continue to follow me. And I just want to tell you how much I love you, how much I thank you, and thank you for being on the journey with me. It's all about you. It's all about us. It's all about us creating and inspiring all of those that are around us. Look forward to seeing you inside the podcast. Hello, here we are again. Your host, George Wrighster on Mindset Mastery. I have a very unique guest for you guys today. A young lady I've known since, I believe, her senior year in high school. And we'll talk about how we met and then her journey from high school to where she is now and what's happening in her life right now. I think this is going to be a very enlightening and inspiring story, not only for the youth and young people, but also for women who have an opinion, women who have a dream, women who travel on a journey and accomplish things that maybe others didn't think they could accomplish, but inside themselves they knew, and I should say, they are searching for their purpose, their vision, and how to put it all together. So I want you to welcome today my guest, Indira Kaljo. How are you, Miss Kaljo?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me, George, and it's an honor and very, very kind words of yours. So thank you. I'm looking forward to talking to you today.
Good. Okay, why don't we tell the audience how we met?
So we met at a really crucial point in my life, I would say. I was playing on an AAU team. AAU is a basketball team, and that team had dismantled because my coach had left, and I was really distraught because if anybody who plays sports knows how important, if you love your team, how important that team is and how important that coach is. And at that time in my life, I was like, please God, let me just find a good team, a good coach. For me, it always mattered the coach. And I remember walking into, I heard about Soaring Eagles basketball team. And I remember walking into that gym. I forget what it's called. Do you remember what it's called?
I believe I can't remember the
In
local. It might have
Chatsworth.
been in Chatsworth, right?
In
I was in.
Chatsworth, that big one.
Oh, was it Powerhouse Gym?
The Powerhouse Gym. Yes.
Yes,
So I remember
yes.
walking into the Powerhouse Gym, and I've always been the type of female, I think because of my life story, that I was just a little warrior. And I just remember walking like to you directly. I can't remember if it was at after practice or before. That's what I can't remember. But I remember coming into you. You were the coach, and just telling you like, I need to get a scholarship. Like it was just the one thing at that point in my life that was the only thing in my life, and the only thing that mattered. I had a vision, a goal, and I knew that I needed a coach, a team that would help me succeed to get there. But I remember walking directly to you and telling you that, and your eyes and your reaction, it still comes to my brain from time to time. But yeah, you were my coach, and I thoroughly, thoroughly loved playing for you.
Well, it was kind of odd. I had never ever had someone your age walk to me directly like that and said, "What you said to me was this."
What?
I cannot play for you unless you can promise me I'm going to get a scholarship.
I said,
That's exactly what you said to me. And I'm in shock because I mean, we're accustomed to, to have traveling with teams. And that's the whole purpose of the travel team anyway, is try to get as many girls seen and hopefully get a scholarship to colleges, universities, so that they can continue their education and play basketball. So we had a team full of girls who wanted scholarships and wanted,
right.
but you were so specific. I cannot play for you unless you promise me that I'm going to get a scholarship. And it
I
caught me
don't
by
remember that. Well, that's amazing. And you're
yeah,
so that.
I am 100% sure because there's never been said to me before you came, and it never has been said to me after you left. And so I thought about it for a minute, but what I saw was the, I don't know, I want to use the word desperation for lack of other words, because you began to tell me just a little bit about your story, about you coming to America and, your financial situation and, your goals, and you needed this money to get to school so you can continue your education.
Mhm.
So, do you remember what I said to you?
No, what do you remember?
I remember what I said to you.
Okay, what
So
did you say?
it took me a minute to gather my thoughts because I didn't want to. I've never ever committed to any
Mhm.
person and guaranteed to that degree that I will make sure you get a scholarship.
Mhm.
But because it was actually after practice when we had this conversation, so I had
Okay.
seen you play, and
Okay.
I said, okay, this girl got some skills. So I said to you, I said, okay, I tell you what, I will promise you that if you
Mhm.
promise me you will do what I ask you to do to get that
Um,
scholarship. And then you said, okay, I'll do that. And I think
Absolutely.
that maybe a day later or the next day or something, you came back to practice, said, okay, I'm going to play. And boy, did I think about that every time you came to practice, every time we went
Mm,
to a tournament, every time we went
mm.
to, I talked to college coaches and what have you, I thought about you. And the beautiful part about that situation is that you ended up getting a scholarship
I did.
to go to
I
school.
did.
Yes. So
Huh?
it
I
was, yeah, it was so exciting to me. But can you tell the audience how you got to the US and what your journey was like coming here?
Sure. So I'm originally from Bosnia, and Herzegovina. It's a tiny country in Europe. And when I was 4 years old, a war began. And I remember just hearing grenades starting to go off. And then after that, pretty much everything was a blur. My mom and my family, they explained to me that we got on the last bus out of Sarajevo because it was a siege. So they closed off all the borders of the city where I'm from, which is called Sarajevo. And we got on the last bus at night, and me, my sister, and my mom. My dad was already living in Germany. And so they explained it to me that they had to drive through the night in complete darkness because at any point the soldiers could stop the bus, and you know what they do when they stop buses during war. And
Yes.
so we traveled to Croatia and then took over we took a boat over, and we ended up in Germany, where my dad was there working. He was actually we didn't know about the war. It wasn't like, hey, in 20 days there's going to be a war. My dad was just there working because financials in Bosnia weren't going that well. There's always been an issue with economics in Bosnia, and so a lot of Bosnians go to Germany for work. So we went there, and we lived in Germany for 2 years. And during that time, we applied for paperwork to come to the States. We waited for the paperwork to get approved. It took about 2 years.
Mhm.
My grandma was living in California at that time already. So they did all the paperwork and all that. And then we moved when I was 6 years old to Los Angeles. And that's where my journey began, really. Once we moved to LA, like the doors opened wide.
Wow. So now, was basketball always your love, your passion when you came to the US?
Good question. I actually first started, my mom immersed me immediately into sports. I think that she knew the value that I needed to learn the language, that I needed to assimilate to the culture. And I'm so grateful for her because she first put me into tennis. I tried tennis. I was okay, but it wasn't like the sport for me. And then she put me into swimming, and I was an excellent natural swimmer. I mean, honestly, I would say I was naturally better at swimming than I am at basketball
Mm,
overall.
okay.
I was competing at 9, 10, 11 years old with like girls that were 15, 16. And I'm
Wow.
talking about competing like at speed. So that was actually my first like love. But then when my mom got sick, diagnosed with breast cancer, and then when she passed away, my connection to swimming was so associated with my mom that I just emotionally couldn't continue
Mm,
playing. And it was interesting, right at a time when she got sick, I got introduced to basketball through my
mhm.
sister, and I was a great shooter immediately, but that's it. And I enjoyed the more aspect of the team sport, with 5 players instead of in the pool just by myself. And so basketball was kind of my healing journey. It
Mhm.
was the sport, the thing that helped me while she got sick. It was the sport that kind of like to get me through her diagnosis and everything that happened. And then also obviously after she passed away. So I had given up swimming to focus and completely commit to basketball.
And how old were you when your mother passed away?
I was 13.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was
So
the
that,
end of seventh grade.
oh wow. So that was a, a traumatic time for you. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So then after, your mother passed and your family life, you started adjusting. Then there was all of a sudden it was time for you to go to high school and play
Yes.
basketball. So
Yes. What's so interesting is how God writes our stories and our destiny, and like how when you work hard, doors open for you. I actually had to move from John Muir Middle School in Burbank to go to Walter Reed because we had moved at that time when my mom passed, and there was just so much change in my life. My mom passing, a new school, and so forth and so on. And my 8th grade year, I was blessed to have like mentors that really my English teacher and my hip hop. I started dancing hip hop dance in the 8th grade, and my hip hop dance instructor, Ike Terjemanian, he really was so crucial. And then my 8th grade basketball coach, Edgar Sedano, they were so crucial in helping me get through that time of depression and traumatic experience at such a young point. And so I was supposed to go to North Hollywood High School. That was my local school.
okay.
And if you know anything about North Hollywood High,
Yes.
you can go both ways with North Hollywood High School. And I just remember my coach having this man come to the practice and watch me play. Practice, he was like, hello, this is, introduce me to this coach wants you to come to his private school to play for his private school. And I was like, as an immigrant child, you don't know about these things, you don't know that they exist, you don't know. I'm just out there doing my best and trying my best. And I think that was the first point in my life where I saw like, oh wow, my talent can get me somewhere. My talent can get me a scholarship for a private high school.
Mhm.
And it was full ride, everything. And I was like, yeah, let's go. I mean, let's do this. I can get a private education. I can play for this school. And so that transition into high school was so unexpected to go to a private high school because it's not something that I dreamt of or knew about.
Mhm.
But once I learned about that, and in going through that, at that time, the coach was like, this is the opportunities that can happen for you also for college, but you need to leave me and you need to go to an AAU coach. And whole transition, really, it took a group of individuals seeing my talent, seeing my skill, seeing my passion,
Mhm.
and nurturing it and supporting it for the next step in my journey.
Mhm.
And I think that's so important to share on this podcast, because sometimes people are just like, well, how did you get there? Like, how did all your dreams come true? And we need to be honest and talk about, yes, hard work 100% is needed. Hard work, passion, enthusiasm, everything is so needed. But along the way to achieve any goal, you have to find one person, two people, three people, four people
Yes.
that are going to support you and have the tools and the resources to support you to achieve your
Mhm.
goal.
Wow, you are so right. And I like the way you
Yeah.
described it because it's definitely important because people move people.
Yes,
and there's nothing imaginary or magical about it. We need each other, and we're
absolutely.
the driving forces for us to help connect us to other people.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now, now, once you got through high school and you achieved your dream of getting a college scholarship,
Hmm.
tell me what that experience was like.
Well, let's be honest. Like sometimes we need to talk about the highs and the lows. Um,
Yes.
I got a scholarship. I was recruited to a few different places from Ivy League schools all the way to Utah State. And
Mhm.
at that time, I had decided to go play at Utah State. Um, Again, and we need to talk about financials and everything else. Like as children, when you make decisions, now as a complete woman, I would have chose otherwise as a 16, 17, 18-year-old girl had I understood the value of taking a $5,000 loan to pay off an Ivy League school. Those conversations do need to be had because when you're an immigrant child, you're making decisions from an immigrant standpoint. And me not wanting to be a burden on my family and me not wanting to have to pay off loans after, I had decided to go to Utah State instead of Dartmouth or Cornell University.
Yes.
And at Utah State, when I first got there, my dream came true. I'm at a Division 1. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna study. I'm gonna be the first in my family to receive an education, a higher education. And I start playing, and I'm practicing well. I'm playing well, and all of a sudden, I don't see any playing time. And how drastic to go from playing 40 minutes a game for all 4 years of my high school, even middle school, to literally sitting on the bench and the trauma that athletes go through.
Yes.
This is something that's not talked about. It's not readily talked about. It's starting to be more discussed by professional athletes and college athletes. And, really does need to be discussed about further because everybody thinks, oh, butterflies and lilies everywhere and
Yeah.
rainbows, when that's not the truth.
Correct.
So my freshman year was a really enduring time, a really challenging time, um, especially because I, on the practice court, was definitely proving that I needed to be on the game time court,
Mhm.
and then not understanding your coach of why you're not receiving that game time. And for me, I'm the type of person, just like I went directly to you, I went directly to her and I said, well, I'm proving myself in practice. Why is this not showing? And a lot of people will understand if they're athletes what that means to you when you're
Mhm.
putting in everything you have and
Yes.
you're proving yourself and you're still not getting those opportunities. But that 1 year of my life, I feel like I needed because it woke me up to show me this is life. Welcome to the real world. You're
Mhm.
not going to get everything that you deserve sometimes.
Yes.
Even though you deserve something else,
Yes.
you're gonna get the opposite. And that only strengthened me. At that time, I didn't understand that that's what it was doing, but it definitely strengthened me for my life now and for the opportunities and things that I've gone through after. And honestly, that experience, choosing to transfer after my freshman year, I had never quit on anything. It was a long and very difficult decision. That opened up the door for me to meet one of my favorite coaches ever, who was from my region, which I had never been coached by a European coach before. I went to Ventura College, which I absolutely was always, coaches would always tell me, oh, Ventura College, oh, community colleges, those aren't good. That experience opened up the door for me to realize that what people always say is not the truth. Community
Yes.
colleges are excellent. There are opportunities for players to continue to play. There are opportunities for them, if they didn't get for them to get seen again, to
Yes.
get better in those 2 years, and then receive a 4-year scholarship. And that's exactly what happened to me. I went to Ventura College, had the best year after my freshman year. It was exactly what I needed. I lived in sunshine again in California. I was by the beach. I was playing with my former AAU teammates from our team for Soaring
Yeah.
Eagles, Asia Wong. I just had an excellent year. And then at the end of that year, again through connections, my coach knowing the assistant coach at Tulane University and calling her and saying, hey, you got to fly out here from New Orleans. You got to check this girl out. She flew over, saw me at a game. We connected. Her name is Shauna Cook, one of my ultimate favorite female coaches. Up until that point, I had never had a female coach. So everything happens for a reason. And in life, sometimes we're like, oh, why? Why is this
Yeah.
happening to me? But we need to just be patient and trust
Yes.
God and his will, and know that it's the path that's best for us.
Mhm. Oh, see, that's an excellent story because, like you said, people will want the bed of roses, and
Yes.
sometimes the bed of roses isn't what isn't in the plan for you.
So
But you
true.
have to be diligent and walk through your journey to get
Yes.
to where you want to go.
Yes.
So now, I know you had a successful year in Tulane because the girl could shoot the basketball. I gotta give her props. She might have been a little lacking in defense in some areas, but if you give her the ball, she was like Steph Curry. You give me an inch, there's not a shot on the court I don't believe I can make. So that was
It's
one of
true.
the things that really excited. I'm
I
like,
was Steph Curry before Steph Curry was Steph Curry.
exactly, exactly. I said, this girl can shoot the ball. This is
Yeah.
ridiculous. So, so now, after your journey and you left Tulane, and what did you do next?
Okay, so my junior year, I had from not playing at all to playing an amazing year at Ventura College, then transferring to Tulane University, having the best year of my life. I mean, I went off, as you just said. I literally could close my eyes and my three ball was going to go in. And not understanding that and playing at that level and just coming into my full force. I was 13 in the nation for my 3-point shooting percentage my junior year. There were talks of like, if she has a great year, she'll get drafted, she can go to a tryout. All these talks happen. And before I go forward, I think it's important to discuss this. So many athletes, especially when you reach the D1 level, your next dream is the professionals. Like, let's keep it real, majority of athletes.
Yes.
And so for me, that was like, oh my God, I'm coming into my dream that I had when I first started playing basketball.
Mhm.
And then the day the day of, I believe, no, a few days before our first game of my senior season, I'm a starter, left off of a 12 point, 13 point, 14 point season. My junior year, I'm ready to go up to 15 plus points a game. I'm feeling good. Everything is good. And my ankle, I completely destroy my ankle. And this happens, and this needs to be discussed, and this needs to be
Yeah.
talked about, because that happened to me my senior year, my last chance to show what I had in me so that I could get
Right.
looked at by WNBA. And I got hurt the first. What that does to you as a player, I mean, emotionally, physically, spiritually, everything. um and it wasn't just like a ankle sprain. Okay, the next day I can play. No, we're talking about like get shots put into my ankle, crutches. And as an athlete, what we're willing to do of pushing our body and not taking the time to rest like we need to,
Mhm.
um, that I would continuously keep getting hurt. So my senior season, I was not the Indira just one school year before, just a few months before. I was not the same person because I lost my confidence. I lost my everything because I was always thinking about my ankle. And I had nobody to talk to at that time about it. It was just me. And those are the things I think that it's so important to discuss on podcasts like yours, and things, especially for athletes, and especially for female athletes, because we go through things that not everybody understands. And so my senior year, I had a somewhat of a good year, not at all what I expected. My team ended up winning the conference tournament, and then we ended up playing in the March Madness, and I'll never forget that experience. I mean, as any athlete, to make it to March Madness, it's a dream come true.
Yes.
But again, I didn't play the way that I wanted to play. I was so happy for our team and everything else, but I had at that point had lost my minutes. I had lost all the things that I was expecting. So that was an interesting journey to go through itself, especially when you were just playing the best basketball of your life one season before.
Yes.
That after I graduated, through everything, and that's why I spoke about that, is what happened after I graduated from Tulane is I was like, all right, well, I didn't have the season that I wanted. So I'm going to go back and start normal life and start coaching and getting into coaching, um, which my dream was to go play professionally. And so that shows you when things go wrong, sometimes we let go of our dreams. We give up on our dreams because it just
Yes.
didn't go as we planned. And
Correct.
it's important to talk about that because we shouldn't do that. we
Right.
should stay the course. Um, but yeah, long story short, I moved back to California. I started actually becoming a coach and an athletic director for a private middle school.
Mhm.
My coach from middle school offered me that job. He was then at that time the principal at that school. So I started working there. And then on my free time, I would drive all the way into Ventura and I would volunteer assistant coach underneath my coach in Ventura College because I wanted to
Okay.
learn from him, his
Okay.
mindset, his skills, and everything.
Hmm.
And it was in that time of playing, coaching for him that I was coaching college girls. So they were what 2 years younger than me, you know.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was telling him I can still ball. I still want to ball. And he was like, "Yeah, what are you doing here coaching with me?" Like, he's like, "Get into shape and go to a professional combine in Europe and go after your dream." Um, and those words, it was the fire that I needed that
Hmm.
sparked everything, and led me to go to Europe and go to Germany for funny. I went back to Germany where I was when I was 4 years old, so it's like a full circle. I went to a
Yes.
professional combine there, and I got selected as the best player in the combine, and then it opened up playing opportunities for me after that.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so now this basketball journey has taken you all around the world and it's opened doorways for you, whether it was job opportunities, relationships, more playing time, finding yourself, finding some
Yes.
self-confidence in yourself.
Yes.
And so now once you played overseas, once your play ended overseas, then what avenue of venture did that lead you into?
So it's very interesting how basketball has been like a source of everything throughout my whole entire journey. I was playing in Ireland for a year and I enjoyed it, but then my grandma got sick and she was living in Bosnia at the time, and I was like, I have to go take care of my grandma. And as a young girl, I always heard about this team called Željo in Sarajevo, about how this is the team that you should play for. So when I moved to Bosnia to take care of my grandma, I was like, I still want to play ball. So I joined this team that I heard about when I was younger.
Okay.
And it was during this time of going back to the place where I was from, learning my heritage, learning where my people come from, learning just way more of that. Yes, I'm an American, but I'm this Bosnian American. Figuring out, coming into, at that time, I was what, 22, 23. That's the time
Mhm,
when you start to search more about what you want from life and what is life and so forth and so on. for,
mhm.
for, for the most part, other people are doing other things at 22, but that's the time when that happened for me, that I started to like, oh wow, this is where I come from. What really is Islam, and what is my religion? I always believed in Allah, God. That's how we call God, Allah. I always believed in it, but I wasn't understanding what that meant. And so being in Bosnia, hearing the adhan, which is the prayer, call to prayer, 5 times a day, because our country is predominantly Muslim, we have a
Yes.
lot of mosques there. I was
Mhm.
able to learn about myself and who I am deep down inside in that time span. So I was playing ball, and then I was also figuring out who I am spiritually. And that was a big shift in my life, up at in my life, because that's when I had decided, and it was a year long. I would pray wearing the hijab, and then I would take it off and go play basketball and live my normal life, and then pray and all that stuff. And and I remember towards the end of my season in Bosnia telling my coach I want to start wearing the hijab while I'm playing, and just in normal everyday life. It's something that will bring me closer to my faith.
Yes.
And she said, "No, there's no way. FIBA will not allow that to happen." And I was like, "What do you mean FIBA will not allow that to happen? It's my body, it's my choice,
Yeah.
because
That's the
that's how
wrong,
it should be."
and that's the wrong thing to tell you. No, something
The
won't
wrong
happen
thing to
because you're the
tell me
stubbornest
is no.
female I've ever run across in my life when you want
Thank
something.
you.
Go ahead and continue the story.
So long story short, I was like, no. And then she's like, please don't, like, right now, officially, you won't be able to finish the season. Wait until the end of the season and see how you feel. So I respected my coach and I told her, okay, fine. And she was like, you're so beautiful. You're going to cover your hair. But that's the thing that people don't understand. When you become spiritually close to God, it's not about your beauty. It's not about anything. It's about you and your connection to God.
Mhm,
And at the end of the season, my grandma was getting more and more sick, and so we moved her back to California so she could get better health care.
mhm.
And when you see your own grandma passed, like in her path to passing and to join, like going into the next life, you realize that it's not all about basketball and traveling and having
Mhm.
fun, which was a big part of my life. Um, that strengthened my desire to get close to God, because we don't know when it's our time is coming. And so when I put on my hijab officially when I was in Los Angeles, California. I remember going to bed that night in June and 2014, and I was like, okay, if I wake up tomorrow feeling like this, I'm gonna just put it on. No matter what happens, no matter what is, and things are gonna change drastically, my life is gonna change drastically, I'm gonna do it, and I'm not gonna take it off. And that's exactly what happened. I put on my hijab, and then life started in a completely new manner. I was like, I want to take care of my grandma, but my aunt is here now, so she's taken care of. Everything's good, and I want to continue playing professional basketball. And at that time, I had like offers to go play in Turkey. The season before, I had a great season in Bosnia, and I was ready to go to Turkey. And then I'm like, let me see if my coach in Bosnia was actually telling the truth about FIBA. So I Google it, and yes, they at that time did not allow anything except a 2 centimeter
Yeah.
headband to be worn,
Yes.
just to keep the head back.
Correct.
And I was like, wait, what? And then when I Google, I find out about another girl named Bilquis Abdul Qadir, an African American Muslim that played with her hijab on at Memphis University.
Mhm.
And she had just graduated that year that I was done at Bosnia.
Okay.
And she was trying to play professionally as well, but she couldn't. So I contacted her and I was like, hey, I'm Indira. I just put on the hijab. What is this? We can't ball. And I'm like, listen, two options. We do nothing about it and we just sit back and say, oh, this is it. Or we do something about it and make change for not just for ourselves, but the other millions of girls and boys that want to wear the turban if they're a Sikh, the yarmulke if they're Jewish, and if they want to play ball. And so I was like, we're doing something about this. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to do something about it. And long story short, I started a campaign on change.org, made a story. And I mean, it was amazing how quickly it gained a lot of
Traction.
signatures and so much support. And even the CARE, which is the Council on American Islamic Relations, got involved. The U.S. Olympic Basketball Committee got involved, just saying, hey, these girls deserve the right to play.
Yes.
Look at your rules. And if it's not hurting the players on the court, why can they not wear a yarmulke or a hijab or
Hmm.
or a turban? So yeah, within 2 years, life drastically changed. And you can ask me whatever you want else you want to know. I don't know what you want. My journey is long, so I can,
Yeah.
yeah, ask me what you want
Abs-
to know.
Absolutely, your journey is long, but a couple of points I want to make
Mm,
because and this is really significant and important to me.
mm,
And you're Muslim, I'm
yes,
Christian.
yes,
It has never ever been an issue with our relationship.
absolutely.
We both talk about God, the God we serve. We love
Yes.
Him, and we talk about spiritual things, and we talk about a lot of different things. But
Mhm,
it's important for people to know we may not always agree on our
mhm.
religious practices, but it doesn't mean we can't operate in love with one another, and that we can't exist without it being
Exactly.
friction or whatever the case may be. And that I appreciate and love about you so much, that you give freedom to not just me, but to other people. You've always done that. You've always been expressive. You've always been a matter of fact about what you want and what you believe. And you've never been the kind of young lady that's just say, I'm going to give in because you say I can't do it. Well, if it's not a good reason why I can't do it, then I'm going to challenge you.
Mm,
We have to figure out why. And if your why is reasonable enough for me to agree with you. Now,
thank you.
with the hijab. Now,
Yes.
several things have happened with the hijab, and I want to talk about that. And also, I want to talk about your how you've inspired other ladies in Saudi, some of the schools that you coached at, and bringing basketball awareness to that community, and what's happened with the young people that you've dealt with there.
Yeah. Thank you. So thank you for what you said. Honestly, for me, we all of us, whatever we believe in, we just need to be open and kind and loving and allow for those connections to happen. Because I feel like your connection and I, and with your wife and your children, is one of the strongest that I have. And you guys are all Christian, and that's the beauty in it. We can believe in different things, but we're still human and we still have the same values. And
Yes.
those values is what opens those friendships. And what now we have been for 15 years on and
Yes.
off. We've been in each other's lives. I mean, that's beauty. And so, in regards to the hijab story, I thought that the process would take much longer with FIBA for them to allow the hijab. So I said, I'm not going to be able to play right now. This is a sacrifice that I'm giving. I always felt in my heart of hearts that they were going to approve the hijab, but I didn't know how long it would take.
Hmm.
And I was willing to take that burden on my shoulder to allow future generations of girls to play. And so I moved to Saudi Arabia. I wanted to get closer to the religion. I had never been in the Middle East. And I heard stories about girls not being able to play sports and so forth and so on. So I moved here with the intention to be close to Mecca and Medina, which are our two holiest places in Saudi Arabia, and also on the other side to be able to influence and inspire other girls to get physically active, to play sports. And once I came here, I saw that really girls don't have the opportunities that I had in California. I was like, what can I do to leave this place better? And so I started coaching basketball. I worked as a PE teacher. And then when I moved, I was in a very small village, in one of the small villages in Saudi Arabia, working at an international school. And then once I saw the impact that I could have on the girls, how excited they were to come to PE classes. They used to hate PE classes before. I started a basketball academy through my nonprofit, Global Sports and Activism, and I would put on these events there. And 50 to 100 girls would come every single time to just play basketball. I saw when you give girls up the opportunities, they're gonna come, and they're gonna come in flocks. And once I got this respect and the trust of the parents, like they allow their kids to do things and play sports like they wouldn't have done before. And so then I moved to Jeddah, which is a much more affluent and westernized city. One day you can come visit. I hope you and the family can come visit. And you'll
Yes.
see it's literally like California. It's by the beach, the Red Sea. There's restaurants everywhere, malls everywhere, movie theaters everywhere. It's very westernized. And once I came here, I was like, wow, look at the opportunities, because they have Saudis are playing sports, but just not enough of them. And so at that time, I was coaching basketball. I worked as an athletic director at the American International School. And I saw how these kids that are international kids and have the same opportunities that I had in America,
Hmm.
why not offer that opportunity to all kids living in
Right.
Saudi Arabia? And so that's how I decided to talk to my Saudi friend and asked her, would she want to start a sports program, where we offered basketball and various different sports under
Okay.
it. And in 2018, we launched Armed Sports Academy, where literally our only goal is to offer opportunities for high quality training,
Hmm.
um, growth, individual growth, and team growth to players. And our focus is on girls and women. And so I literally spent 6 years in Saudi Arabia
Hmm.
focusing on this one goal. And it's amazing to see, especially since the government and so many changes in the last 3 years in the country, how many girls from ages 3 all the way to 30 are now joining Armed Sports Academy,
Mm.
and coaching those girls and watching them grow from not being able to dribble or shoot to becoming okay basketball players, and knowing that in the next 10, 20, 30 years, God willingly, our company can continue that, and we will be one of the pioneers in the country for this growth and change of the development of a society. And so for me, I'm currently in Saudi Arabia, and flying back from California to Saudi Arabia to play in the first ever women's basketball league here as an American, Bosnian American, to playing for the team that I started. It's just wearing my hijab proudly and it being approved, and me going in FIBA. I had to register as a FIBA player now, again, a professional FIBA player. with my hijab, it's just full circle. And the journey has been literally God saying, just trust me, just
Yes.
trust me.
Yes. I've seen that. That is an awesome story. And because of your giving, it led you right back to the same place. And now you've been given an opportunity that you look at the smile on your face. I remember when you told me you were so excited. I can't believe this is happening. I'm going back to play professional sports, going back to
Yes,
Saudi, because you
yes,
have built relationships there. You have all the kids that is always asking you to come
yes,
back. They miss you so
yeah,
much. And I
yeah,
understand why. Although, you and I, we fight sometimes, but the kids, they love you, so I'm going to give you some props for winning the hearts of the kids.
thank
And
you.
oh man, it's awesome. So now listen, I don't know if
Yeah.
you could talk about this yet, so I'm going to bring up a couple of topics,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then you only share what you can share.
Okay.
Okay, so now since we're on the hijabs,
Yeah.
okay, do you want to tell the audience that you have a line of hijabs, or you're a spokesperson? Let's let them in on a little secret.
Yeah, sure. So I started wearing the Capster sports hijab, which is by two non-Muslim women, created it 20 years ago when their Muslim friend was told she can't play her PE class. And they were designers and they were like, no, our friend is going to play. And they designed two non-white Muslim women, non-Muslim women. It's amazing. Karen and Cindy. They designed this excellent sports hijab that I started wearing 6 years ago. And I became their friends of Capsters. And I told them, listen, I love it. If you guys ever need any support, let me know. So they asked me to buy the hijab company about a year ago. And I told them, listen, I know nothing about owning a hijab line, but let the new owners know that I'm very interested to work with them. And so the new owners contacted me and they're like, we followed you, we read about you, we think you're amazing. We would love for us to collaborate with you and start a Capsters Times Indira hijab line. And I was like, what? Like this came out of nowhere. But God does that for us sometimes. He gives
Yes.
us what we don't know, what we need. And I told them, what does that entail? They're like, basically, it's your hijab line. You choose the ones that you want. We'll send you samples, and we want to go into the casual line wear. And I was like, you know what? I love these casual hijabs. These are called jersey. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? Let me support you guys. It'll help you guys. I would love, and I love your company, so let's do it. And so now I have my own hijab line, which is so
Yes.
interesting for a company in Malaysia, which kind of again all full force because I'm such an international human being. And through that, it's opened up the door for me to support other small businesses and create my own small business, which I haven't told you yet. I started Alma Apparel, which is in memory of my mom. My mom's name is Alma
Ah,
Madina. I'm
yes.
starting this line, this company called Alma Apparel, which will
Mhm.
sell things online, and in the future, hopefully, will grow to be big enough to have some stores around the world, selling things from different countries from different small business owners. So this is the idea that I had, and I've talked to people that are very close to me, and they think it's an excellent idea. And so from starting to wear the hijab, being told you can't play and all of that, to now being able to play, having my own line, and now owning my own apparel store, it's just my I can't even say wildest dreams. And I just know that, as we said earlier, that like if you just stay the course, you just have faith, you're close to your spirituality, and you do the best you can, you're gonna doors are gonna open for you.
See, this is why I wanted you on the show, because you have so many things that are affecting your life, and
Mm,
you always believe in sharing those with other people and
yes,
helping them grow. And
yes,
so, people your age need to hear that. They need to know
yes.
that, follow your dreams. Don't
Mm,
be afraid to step out. Don't be afraid to say or challenge the norm.
the
Be
norms.
respectful, be loving, be kind, and good things happen to you when those things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna. I should ask you for something, but I'll get it from you. But I want to talk about your adventure that you took over the summer, right before the summer. I didn't even know you were a lover of whales until. You told me you were going, you were going to swim with the whales. I'm thinking, has this girl lost her mind? Has basketball juggled the brain a little bit? She said, no, I'm going to swim with the. And then when you sent me the pictures, I'm like, this girl is something else. Tell me about your whale experience.
Yeah, so I would say about like probably the time of the hijab and everything else, I really started to get connected to whales. I started following it all on Instagram, watching whales swimming. It just gave me the peace and calm. And I always was an ocean girl. I loved being in the water. And so I just kept saying, I'm gonna go. And whales have certain seasons where they, excuse me, where they migrate. And usually I was never able to go because I was working in Saudi Arabia. But COVID opened up that door because obviously there was no work, no coaching. And I was like, you know what? And at that time, Tahiti, the country of Tahiti, had just reopened its borders to allow tourism to come in. And it was towards the end of the migration season of the blue whales, humpback whales, excuse me, humpback whales. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And I was actually with your daughter, Ayana. And she's like, you're really going to do this? I'm like, yeah. And I told her, come with me. And she's like, I want to so badly, but I'm not sure about if something gets closed down, my life and so forth and so on. And I told her, I completely understand. So I went for a week and I literally got to swim with whales. I mean, they swam in front of me. You hear the vibration, but you feel the vibration of their sound. And scientists are saying that there's like healing effects of their sounds and so on and so on. But the fact that a baby whale, like, I kid you not, a baby whale, I cry when I think about it, left its mom and it was coming directly to me. And I just put my hand out. And it was just that split second, that split moment of just like the truest connection, like mammal to human, the truest connection. And I mean, we're not talking about like a little thing. It's just ginormous, the mother and just feeling safe that it's coming at me in this slow, curious speed. And that's life. Like I'm a human, this is a whale, and it has curiosity for what I am and who I am. And so if we all think of life and differences and all that in that way, we can always put our hand out and connect. So yeah, that experience was for sure one of the most fulfilling, I would say. And I would highly recommend it to you and to anybody else
Of
that
course you
can.
would.
I'm serious.
Yeah, we'll be reading Bible stories about Jonah and the whale, and then you be telling me, well, that was my coach. The whale got him. It spared me, but it got coach.
Okay, so in Islam we believe in Jonah. We believe in that story, and that we call him Yunus. So Jonah is Yunus.
Yes.
And I was like, dear Lord, don't let me become. Don't let me be the story. I don't want to be Yunus. I just want to swim with them. and so look there. You probably didn't know that.
No,
That
I
we also
didn't.
believe that story. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So there's so many commonalities and so many beautiful similarities that if we just talk to each other like you and I are doing right now for this podcast,
Yes.
and I hope that through this podcast, people can see, look, you're an African American male coach that I highly respect, who's Christian, and we have such a strong bond, with not just with us, me and you, with your entire family. And I'm a white, blue-eyed Muslim girl from Bosnia, a refugee, and look how much we have to talk about. Look how easy it is. And I hope that through this podcast, I hope it reaches millions of people, and that it changes their, just for 1 second, their mindset, that they can be like, oh, hey, look at that female and a male talking, this can happen, and it should happen.
Yes, definitely. Okay, I know you got to get ready to go to practice, get ready to work out, working out twice a day. So, make sure you take some video, because I want to see if that jumper still, is lit
it's
like
still
it
wet.
used.
It's still splash. I look forward to the day. I have a feeling I'm going to get the chance to shoot with Steph Curry, and I just want to compete against him on the 3-point line.
Oh,
I will say this: back at Tulane, I could have competed with the distance with him. Now he has taken it to another level. But the normal NBA 3-point line, I want a chance.
I believe you. Hey, he don't know this yet, but you might get him. He don't understand. People don't. They don't know. They don't know what the Kaljo can produce around here. I'm trying to tell you now. So listen.
George, I don't know if I ever told you. One last thing. At Tulane, I shot 87 3-pointers out of 100
What?
at, pra- at practice. One time,
Wow.
my coach, I remember his face. He was like, "What just happened in front of my eyes?" And
Yes.
not just standing ones, moving.
Yes. See,
87 out of 100.
I believe it because you know, hey, all we
I'm
did
not
we
lying.
ran plays for you like you were a cash cow. We like, hey, just give her an inch. So you just give her a fraction of an inch. We going out of here with a victory tonight. So I don't doubt it one bit. Well, listen, I want you to, if there's anything you want to say to the audience before we, disconnect from this podcast tonight. And, this is our first podcast together, won't be our last. But if there's anything you want to share, I want to leave it to you to share. And also, if there's any information you want to leave with us, or
Mm.
where we can connect with you, where we can follow you so that people can track your journey. Because you do a really good job of posting things so that, that people will connect with you. And it's not about, the beauty about you is that it's not about, I want to share my things with you so you can, I can pat myself on the back and cheer. You're all about inspiring people. You're all about sharing your journey for a reason, not just sharing the journey just to say, I got this. So anything you want to share, information?
Thank you. Yeah, the end of for my what I tell people, what I want to tell people is go after your dreams. Don't quit when it gets hard. Find the resources, family members, friends in the community. They're there. Ask for help, ask for support. Do it. Even when God closes that door, go for another one. Talk to people, communicate, be open-minded. Um, don't don't quit. Just keep going. Literally just keep going after your dreams. And for the girls that and women that consistently in the US and globally go through being told they're not good enough or they can't or it's going to be hard or whatever it is, you got this. God gave you what you need inside of you. And
Yes.
I'm no special something God made. I always tell this to other women that say, "How did you do this?" Just find it within yourself. Take time to figure out what it is for you that gets you fired up and passionate, and put down goals and steps of how you will achieve that, no matter what
Yes.
roadblocks come in the way. That's my women message to the women. And yeah, like, share your journeys, not like you said for the likes and for the share your that's what I do with my journey. I share to inspire others to go after what they dream and what they want, whether it's traveling, playing sports, cooking, spirituality, whatever it is. It's about putting positivity into this world. And honestly, at this point in time, George, as you know, we need positivity in this world.
Yes.
We need
Yes.
to inspire each other. That's why I respect you and love you so much, because you're doing that. And so at the end of the day, I would love for you guys to connect with me. You can find me at Instagram, Indira. I don't know if you can put it in, but it's Indira,
There we go.
Indira, and then underscore Kaljo. My full name, like my full name. And you can connect with me there. I share my everything there, and I'm considering doing YouTube and things like that. We'll see in the future. But I would love to do this again with you, George. It was excellent. I hope that it was meaningful. I do feel it was meaningful, and always love connecting with you. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. My heart is always with you. My prayers are always with you. My house is always open to you.
Thank you.
So yes, so when you come back, the first stop you better make is you got to come here anyway because you love carrot cake. So you
Yeah,
always
I
got
was
to.
I was gonna say I'm coming for that carrot cake. I'm coming for your piece too.
That's so
Y'all,
cool.
whoever watches this, don't mess with George's carrot cake. Do not mess with that man's carrot cake.
Everybody, Indira Kaljo, she's been a blessing to us tonight, and I just want you guys to follow her, track her journey because you will be inspired and you will want to stay connected with her on her journey, her store that she's opening, her line of hijabs, and just share her passion. So
Thank you.
God bless you,
Thank you.
and we'll talk soon.
All right,
Until we
sounds good.
do, you stay out of trouble.
All right, George.
All right.